Hi everybody, good day to you. Check out this beast, 2008 Hummer H2. It's the pickup truck version. All right, let's see what we got here. Starting's the engine. Oh, mileage. What do we got? All right, we're looking at, I don't know, there's an airbag light, it's gone. 138,862 miles on the odometer. There's some interesting complaints going on with this particular auto. Customer states when the engine is warm and they try to restart, you have to hold the accelerator pedal to the floor, and sometimes it'll backfire and pop, and then it runs okay once it gets started again. However, once it does get restarted after this condition, it'll only run shortly, or it'll go a block or two, and then it stalls out maybe. That's what it says here. Then the key will not come out. That's odd. Customer states there's a new battery that was installed. Something about an issue from low voltage. There's a note about solving a low voltage issue, but I don't know of one of those yet. We have had replaced on this some fuel injectors, an evap canister. It's got some oil leaks, the dipstick tube leaks. I guess that was replaced recently. There's an oil cooler gasket that was recently replaced. They want that rechecked. So we got a drivability issue here. The thing starts and stalls, or key doesn't come out. I don't know what's going on. There's probably a couple of separate things going on, not one thing. And yes, the key does not turn back. Okay. All right, well, we have verified that the key does not come out. It does not turn back to the lock position. So, we'll worry about that later. Let's go verify this hot restart issue that it has. We'll take it out for a ride, bring it up to operating temperature, and we'll come back and attempt a couple restarts, and we'll see what she does. Let's get this land yacht underway. Okay, I know you guys all want to know, so here it is. Average fuel economy, 13 miles per gallon. If memory serves, I believe this is powered by a 6-liter. They actually may have put the LQ9 high output 6.0 in these. I'll check that when we get back. You know, oddly enough, there's no service engine light on this truck, which I find that to be strange. Because if this thing has a stalling or a no start condition, you'd think it would set some kind of a trouble code. Perhaps they're stored in history. We'll take a look when we get back to the shop. I believe we're up to a suitable operating temperature to attempt to recreate the conditions. Yeah, there's got to be something stored in the ECU for this no start condition. There's just got to be. Does this thing even fit in the shop? No. All right, let's see about a restart. So there's shutdown. That key, that's not coming out. Nope. That's a good restart. Another? Okay. To the scanning tool. So I gotta plug the scanner in and I find some device plugged into the OBD2 port. What is this? It appears to just be drawing power for something. Just 2-wire power and ground. I wonder what that's for. Scanner powering on. All right, 2008 Hummer H2, 6.2 liter. Let's get into engine. Codes menu, please. Begin displaying codes now. Again, you have to tell it to display twice, nada. Okay. Okay, let's back out of this. Let's go ahead and code scan, and we're gonna scan every module in the car. That's gonna take some time, so we'll check back in with that a little later. All right, while that thing's scanning, let's hop in and see big hood. It's funny, it's got a hood release, and it's got these little guys right here. I wouldn't think you'd need hood straps when you have a hood latch, but it is what it is. Oh! Okay, here's our new battery that they installed. They mentioned that. This is good. They said they put injectors in it. I see a shiny injector. Something about stalling though. Why would we be stalling? Or not restarting very well? I'm not so sure about this. Here's what we're gonna do. I wanna get the key out first. That's a known problem staring at me in the face. It's got a security warning. I imagine that key issue could very well be the cause of a security warning. Wondering why the battery went dead. Maybe the key's not getting turned off because it's stuck. So I want to go get the key out, and that's what we're going to do right now. Okay, we had no ECM codes that were stored. I do have an airbag code here. It's a B0084, front end sensor 2, symptom 00, current and history, indicator requested. So it's perhaps has a damaged collision sensor up front. Probably a fairly simple thing to diagnose. Let's see, we've got a seat module code, driver's seat lumbar support horizontal position circuit short to ground or open. That's history. All right, that's it. And the key came out. Good, we get an opportunity to inspect it. It's very odd. I feel like it's the lock that's hanging up. It's odd that it's working now. All right, here's the deal. I think I want to go drive this again now that we've cleared trouble codes and we know that there's nothing in the system except for the ABS, or excuse me, airbag, the collision impact sensor. So we're gonna go drive it again and put it through a drive cycle and see if we get any pending trouble codes. So I'm gonna go put some miles on this and we'll see how it works out. Let's go close the hood and get out of here. Hood coming down. You know, real quick, they had made a mention about rechecking a repaired oil leak. So let's take a look down below at the engine real fast before we leave and see if there is in fact any leaks to be checked. And you know what? We'll do a key check while we're here. Beautiful. Does it come out? Beautiful. Okay, seeing as how this truck is a skyscraper, we can just kind of peek our heads down below here, take a gander at what we're talking about. Oh yeah, there's a leak. There's definitely a leak. Let's go see it. What do we got here? Oh, let's see. Yeah, that's from up top, some of it. Looks like, oh, what do we got? That's one heck of a leak. Yeah, that's oil pan leak. Okay, backing up, honking for safety. Get out of here again. I think I'm gonna hit the interstate and go down to the next exit. I'll swing back through town. That way this thing gets a couple miles on it. And we can really see if this fault's gonna present itself. Well, power feels good, it's torquey. Downshift felt good. Whoa, guy. Jeez. What's wrong with people? Seriously, and your fender flares are stupid. Check these guys out. Pouring concrete with an excavator. That's cool. You know, it's weird, just a personal observation. This Hummer feels lightweight to me, and it feels fast and peppy when compared to my truck. Just fun fact, quick observation. All right, we've made a couple mile loop through the parking lot. This car on my left wants to run into me because they don't know the rules about turning left. And we are now back at the shop. So let's see if we can't recreate the key locking thing and the cranking no starting backfiring thing after a hot shutdown. So let's just sneak around in here and nose it in. See what it does. It's a huge shifter. Powering down. I'm wondering if that dead battery has something to do with it, because there is a day-old battery in there. And I'm wondering if this key staying in the on position has anything to do with anything. Okay, well, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna let this run for a little while and I'm gonna come back in and check on it pretty soon. Rechecking again. Gravy. Okie dokie, it's been about 4 hours. This thing is, it's actually cooled off since last time I was in here, but let's go double check the situation at large. See what it does. All right, it starts. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, the key's doing it again. I was wrong. Okay. That was me. All right, let's, I'm gonna pull this bezel and stuff off and see what's going on with this tumbler. That's not supposed to be doing that. Okay, now we have confirmed the fault is real. Let's see what we can do about it. Now I see attempts have been made before because the screws are missing out of the bottom of this steering column bezel. So that should make disassembly a little easier. Let's just go ahead and pop this guy off. Come here. Need pry driver. I gotta tell you, my heart just sank. I really thought I fixed this, that little key business that was going on there. I wonder if it's hanging up electronically as if the little lock solenoid thing is not disengaging. Okay, let's put that down there for now. Stay. Okay. All right, let's pull this little knee bolster thing down first, real quick. I'm gonna have a hard time getting the right sockets. Okay. I cannot make the distinction between 7 and 8 millimeters. So anyway, I'm not going to be able to get that bezel out with this bolster. And so step 1, remove bolster. Except I can't get a grip on the dang thing. Become unclipped now. It's acting like there's one more screw in it somewhere. What is this? Is it up here? No, maybe. Yeah, there's a 10 millimeter hanging out in there. All right. Okay, now we can pop this guy out. Gravity. We'll get the top part of the bezel off also. Let's see, let me angle you down again. Sorry, there was a multi-function switch in your face. It's never comfortable. Is that screwed on somewhere, or is it just clipped in? And I think the answer is clipped. Yes. All right. Let's see what we got here. There should be, I believe there's a little solenoid here that electronically releases the key. Might be this guy. And I believe that that is the solenoid right there. See how we're locked? Key won't come out. Watch this. Push the bottom of that solenoid in. Now the key unlocks. So the question is, has the solenoid failed, or is it not receiving power from its controller? That's the real question here. So what we're gonna do is measure this. We're gonna pop this little connector out, and I'm gonna put a meter on it, and then we're gonna power it down, and we're gonna see if I've got power at this little connector here, if I can get the thing out. I'll take the whole solenoid out. I'll show you. Where? Oh, I see. That's difficult. Here, you guys, I'll just set you down right here. Become unclipped now. This is not, doesn't have to be so hard. There. Okay, here's our solenoid. It's electronically actuated. You send it power and ground to the connector. This little guy goes click and releases the lock. And for some reason this one is not releasing. Weird. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is connect a meter to this. We're going to watch the meter and we're going to key it off. We're going to see if this thing powers in order to engage the solenoid. If it does, then we know the solenoid is faulty, and if it is not, then we know the circuit is faulty. Now, I've got a couple more of these super tiny little probes. These are not the ones that I melted earlier on the floor. So what I'm going to do is probe this connector, and then we will connect it to the meter, and we should see voltage during a key off event. Or perhaps we'll see a lack of voltage. I'm not sure if that's a steady on component or a steady off. Alright, so I have these jumper leads. Those are my melted ones. I have these jumper leads connected to the meter. The red is positive, the blue is negative. I know that bothers some people, but I've already melted my red and black leads, so now we're on to yellow and blue. Alright, oh, my probe came out. Just go ahead and shove that back in. Okay, so paying attention to our meter. We're on the wrong setting. Let's go to direct current, DC volts, and key off. Look at that, no volts. That's weird. That resistance between the two? No. No volts. So this circuit is faulty, not necessarily the solenoid. Okay, let's key it off. So this tells me it's not the solenoid. We have a power supply issue. No volts. What's going on here? Let me make sure I've got a good connection on those pins. I'm going to go in through the front side. Okay, we need to pull up the wiring diagram and see where the power supply comes from to this connector that powers this solenoid. Like we just saw, there's voltage sometimes and sometimes they're not. So this is an intermittent issue, which that was the complaint. See, now look at here, we've got voltage here. That's odd. Key on, start. There's still voltage there. Polarity switch, so I'm just going to flick and flop my leads real quick. There we go. So we have voltage, key off, voltage, Key all the way off, voltage. Key out, no problem. But something's interrupting it. We have no voltage. Look at that. Back to 0 again. Okay, I want to go pull up a diagram of this system and see what's going on with this solenoid right here. Or solenoid circuit, I should say. Stand by. Be right back. Okay, back in the truck. Looks like we still got voltage at our connector where we're pinned right here. I brought with me the diagram that pretty much just shows this circuit in question. The ignition lock cylinder control solenoid, that is this little guy right here. We've already proved that this guy functions, and we are lacking voltage at certain times. I checked continuity to ground on that circuit, and it does have a good ground. It runs right to the J218 junction, and then runs right to the G203 grounding terminal. I did a resistance check on the circuit. It is grounded and has good ground. I've done a wiggle test on that while checking resistance, and that's okay. So I have no worries about the ground side. I do believe we have a loss of power. Now, we know we have power from our fuse box because we have power right here. So we know that that's functioning like it should be, but we don't know if it's functioning like it should be all the time. So let's go check it real quick and just make sure that that fuse is not corroded, or the pins aren't junk or anything like that. So let's head back out under the hood and do that real quick. We're going to be looking for run/accessory fuse 40, and it's going to be a 10 amp. All right, let's see what we got here. Fuse box. Let's see, fuse 40, run accessory, 10 amp, yes, and fuse 40 is, oh, there she is, 40, right there, 40. It's gonna hang out right below the 2 relays, 3 down in the center, 2 relays, 3 down in the center. Here's our 10 amp. And how does this look? Focus. A little corroded, not much. Let's make sure that this is in fact the correct fuse by checking voltage on our meter. No volts, okay. So that part of the fuse is functioning like it should be. Let's see if we can't see the pins down there. Are they melted? No, I think that's pretty good. Plug that guy back in. Okay, and looky here, we have the return of voltage to the connector. That verifies that section of the circuit. So we're going to move on. We're going to assume, since we're getting power from here to here, that it's also going through here, but we have something that changes the state of our connection, and that's our switch, automatic transmission shift lever. So that's going to be the switch that's I believe down inside the shifter here. Let's see what I can do about popping this thing off, and we'll see if we can't locate the switch down in the center console. However, I think before we tear into this, let's see if we can observe a failure, or at least a way to induce the failure. Because I can take it apart, but if it's working like it should be, and I can't recreate those conditions, I really can't, I can't condemn a component. So we're gonna turn her back on. And one thing I'd like to observe here is that when we depress the lock button, that's when we lose our voltage. When we release the lock button, it comes back, depressed, goes away, released, it comes back. So what I'm thinking is that if this gets depressed and the switch itself is getting stuck, let's see if it'll do it. Now, the switch is getting stuck potentially. It will deny voltage to that connector, which will not actuate the solenoid, which will not release the key. And I believe that's a feature for to retain the key if the vehicle's in drive. Let's go ahead and put it in drive real quick. And yeah, see how we have no voltage? Turn it off and we still have no voltage. But even after manipulating the switch, it won't release the key. So let's move it into to neutral, no release. It's either the position switch or it's the button release right here, and I think that's all incorporated into one switch, which is the position switch inside of the shifter here. I just hate to condemn that part because it's the most likely, but I'm having a very, very hard time catching this thing in the act. So So I do believe it's that switch in there. I mean, that makes sense because we know it's not this and we know it's not that. It's got to go through this component right here. And that component is the switch located on the shift lever. So I pulled up this console lid because I was going to finish removing the shifter. I just wanted to inspect that switch down inside of there. However, I think it might be a little bit more trouble than it's worth at the moment. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and I've plugged the solenoid back in. That way I just get some, you know, positive feedback on the situation. And I went back and I back probed the connector again. That way the solenoid will operate and I can monitor it on the meter. So I can sit here and watch the correlation between voltage when I press the button and when I don't press the button. That way I can try to maybe shift it, put it back into gear. I'm hoping I can shift it back into park and then find it not supplying voltage to the solenoid. That would be ideal, because then I could definitely go, hey, well, I manipulated this and now it doesn't work. So let's see, let off the button. Yeah, see, it's too predictable now. It's not working. This thing is frustrating me because I know it fails and I catch it failing, but I can't figure out which segment of the circuit is failing. And I'd really, really hate to go, yeah, we need to put a shift lever in it, and then we go and find out that it's not the shift lever. I would be very upset to learn that. And I also have not seen it do the fail to restart symptom. Apparently it just cranks and cranks and cranks and cranks and cranks on a hot restart. I haven't seen that yet. So I'm gonna go ahead and just call this car for right now, and I'll try again in the morning. We determined that the ignition lock solenoid, which is in my hand currently, was intermittently failing to receive power and would fail to release the key from the cylinder. I have not yet been able to locate the source of the intermittent open circuit. Okay, we're back for day 2 of this Hummer. Let's see if it's gonna do what they said it does. I wanna see about this lock, and we wanna try to recreate this stalling condition on a hot start. So I've still got the meter wired in to the connector for the release solenoid on the key. Let's fire this guy back up. And look at that, already, first thing, no voltage. Key's locked, it won't come back out. It gives us a chance to see if our issue is within the button release on the shift lever. So what we can do is we'll actuate the button, and if this button is what's sticking, we should see power return when I actuate the lever, or the button on the lever. All right, we're moving it around and it's not firing up. And if we go back to our chart, it's telling us the only thing that we've got to really worry about here is the park switch, which I really don't think it's this park switch, because I should be able to get that thing to switch back to voltage by just manipulating the switch a little bit, and it's not doing it. I wonder if my initial thought was incorrect and our problem is actually over here, because it's not here, it's not here, it's not here. That's at the connector up top. It's not the actual connector, it's not the solenoid. I don't think it's the park switch. I mean, that's an easy go-to on this one because we've already verified there's fuse power. But what we have not verified is the connection between the fuse and the rest of this. Let's try something here, hang on. We're gonna leave this key on, and what I'm looking for is to get the voltage to show up while I manipulate components. So let's go back to our fuse box and see if we can't get power to show up on this thing. All right, we're in park. Key is in position 1. I want to try to capture all this in one scene. We go around, check our meter. We seem to be lacking on the voltage. Yeah, we're not doing, that was a little weird. Okay. Well, anyway, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna go back to the fuse box. This is our fuse. Now we've already pulled that and checked it. Look at that, there it is. There it is. Okay. Yeah, see guys, that's the thing with intermittents, is they do this kind of stuff to you. Let's take this apart some, see if there's any fuse box damage. This is very odd, and I'd really like to find out what's going on with this. It's a bad connection. That's what it is. This is an intermittent issue. It's a poor connection. I'm just gonna figure out where that connection is. These are all the connectors that go to individual systems, or multiple systems actually, individual harnesses I should say, from the power distribution block. So this is interesting. I see a decent amount of corrosion on some of these pins. See all that white stuff on there? I'm not saying this is the cause, but it certainly isn't helping. Yeah, this is pretty nasty right over here. Look at all that. I'm wondering if the pin of that circuit is suffering from some corrosion, like right here. Yeah, look at that right there. Let's see if that is the pin in question. Let's bust the meter back out again. Just want to identify which pin runs to, or pins run to that fuse. And let's set the alarm on. Yes, beep. Self-checking meter. Okay. Okay, so let's just probe this this fuse right here, and then we'll flip around to the back side and probe each one of these connectors until we locate the proper pin. I just want to see if the one that goes to that fuse is corroded or not. Let's see, it's not the corroded one. It's that one right there. How's that one looking? Not too bad. All right. I don't know if it's the connection, or maybe there could be an issue with the circuit board inside of here. That's fairly common on these. I need to continue to experiment here. But first, I want to brush off some of this junk on these pins, just so we know that it's good. Shiny. Nylon brush shiny. Very carefully. We don't want to bend them. Alright, let's put this thing back. I'm not so certain that I'm going in the right direction all of a sudden. In fact, I don't even know what direction to go into. This is consistently being inconsistent. Okay, meter back, and let's see if it's working again. Sure is. It's working. Well, this is quite annoying. We're on day 3. It's first thing in the morning. First start, first warm up, and on shutdown again, we're not losing voltage at the lock anymore. And we went through this the first day after I blew this out and I thought I fixed it. What it's doing is it's not doing what it was doing. At this point, I'm gonna go ahead and pull the trigger and recommend a replacement fuse panel. And I'm gonna do that because as I manipulated that and kind of banged on it with my pliers, I saw voltage return on the meter, and that tells me that the open circuit is somewhere inside of that fuse block. Okie dokes, here's where we're at, climbing back into this thing. So it is now the following Monday after the weekend, and again I continue to retest this, and after manipulating that fuse box, it no longer locks out the ignition. Now there was that complaint where it would fail to restart on a hard start. I have never been able to duplicate that. However, I'm suspecting there's a possibility we had an issue with that run accessory circuit, because that's the circuit that powers this key lock right here. And I do believe those may have been connected. Now, having since manipulated that circuit board and that fuse block under the hood that powers all of these circuits, the symptom is no longer presented itself. I cleaned some of the corrosion off some of those pins. My fear, however, is that corrosion has migrated up into the printed circuit board, and I cannot take that unit apart to disassemble. It can be done, but it's going to be quite an extensive and difficult process. So I'm actually not going to do that. In fact, we are not going to do anything else with this lock or with the starting thing. We're actually going to seriously change direction on this truck, and I'm going to fix the oil pan leak that it has instead. So we are stopping at this point and bringing this entire excessively lengthy diagnostic case study to conclusion. So I'm just going to toss this stuff back together, and I'm going to move this over to my other lift, and once I get it on the lift, we're going to drain the oil, pull the front differential out of it, doodly-doo, final doodly-doo of this video, and go ahead and pull that oil pan down to reseal it. So given the huge amount of time that's already in this particular video, I'm going to go ahead and have to make that a part 2, because I don't see how I can possibly tie non-electrical repair into oil pan repair. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and close this video out. I hope I can piece this together and make it somewhat entertaining for you guys. If I can, then you'll see it, and if I can't, then you won't. So as always, I'd like to thank you for watching this video, and of course I hope you enjoyed this video. If in fact you did enjoy this video, please feel free to let me know about that in the comment section down below. I hope to see you over on part 2 for the oil pan repair, and most importantly, do not forget to have yourselves a great day. See you guys later. Beginning steering column reassembly procedure now. Click. Begin clicking. What's wrong with you? Maybe this is the non-clicking version. There, artificial click.